Hello, hi, welcome. I am going to get straight into it today because I have a growing TBR pile and that is a stressful thing for me. I think you'll see in the video, I don't even have that much compared to some, but I have a large enough pile of library books that I could not possibly read all of them in the time I have. And I also have just books that I've got on there. Can't point. Over here is my TBR bookshelf. I've kind of set it aside for only books that I have not read yet, as well as, some knickknacks and things like that. But there are books there that I know I've kept them for, in theory, but it's good to kind of check in with yourself and what you like and what you're interested in. And I think I'll find that there are quite a few on there that are not so interesting to me, even if they were at the time. I mean, clearly not that interesting to me at the time because I didn't read them. But yes, I'm very keen to go through them and see what I want to keep. Anything I don't want from the library, I'll obviously just return. And I might keep a list of things that I have borrowed but not actually read in case I want to go back to them. I think for the library books, I'm going to be more picky for the library books because I can come back to them if I want to. Realistically, I could come back to any of the books on this shelf if I borrowed them out from the library or bought them again in the future. I'm going to be quite severe with those. And then for the physical books, I will be a bit more, give a bit more grace. But the aim is that I will be assessing them on the basis of their first paragraph. If I am unsure about the first paragraph, I will then look at the blurb. But only if it's kind of a maybe. If I have read it and been like, oh, I can't click, I'm hooked, I will keep it. If I'm a bit, then it can go. It's gone. If I know that I can give it to someone who will appreciate it more, I will do that. Or I have a local street library that is in desperate need of sort of anything to cater between the ages of like 10 and 70 because we have a lot of children's fiction and a lot of kind of, it's obviously not one demographic, but we have a lot of kind of retired people fiction in that street library. So it would be nice to be able to give something and then hopefully at some point there'll be something in there that I can pick up as well. Okay, I will also probably be doing a little bit of an explainer for why I liked these things in the first place. I feel like that's just inevitable. The first one I have is A Study in Drowning. I'm fairly sure I picked up because there was someone on YouTube who really liked this and I think they're very cool. Can't remember anyone's names, but I really wanted to pick this up because of that. And also it just seems like something I'd be interested in. It doesn't have a blurb. So here it is. All right. This is the one that I was thinking of. So this is like a dark academia. This is a dark academia novel. I haven't liked them in the past, but really it's because I haven't read any. Like I think I've read adjacent things, but I don't know if I've read anything that technically counts as a dark academia, at least yet. I have Immortal Dark sitting over there. I've already started that one. Oh, that's the other thing, is that anything that I am in the process of reading, I haven't included in this because I've already read the first paragraph. And that is quite a few things. There's things like Edgar Allan Poe short stories. I think I've read about half of them now. I would say that is sufficiently started. So there are things that I am in the process of reading that aren't going to be in this list, but I mean, that's even more reason to cull some of these. I'm already currently reading things. Do I count? I don't know. I'm stuck because there's like a little prologue quote thing, but it's not chapter 1 and it's not called a prologue. I'm going to read it. I refuse mirrors, the Fairy King said. I refuse them for you, and I refuse them for me. If you want to see what you are, look into the tide pools at dusk. Look into the sea. From Angarad by Emrys Mirden, 1901 AD. 191 AD. I refuse mirrors, I refuse them for you, and I like that. Yeah, nah. That's a keep. Well, that's one down. I'm a little bit worried now that I'm going to read all of them and discover they all interest me. Okay, next one. The Watchers. So the reason I got this, it's a very shiny cover. I don't like that it says where it's from. I might be blurring a lot of the things in this video just so you don't know where I live. I wanted to borrow this because I quite liked the film. Unpopular opinion for sure. And I feel like the parts that I liked about it were probably the parts that were in the book. Not to not give, I don't know her name, but M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, not to not give her credit, but I think that probably the parts of it that were good were from the book. That being said, I did read another book by this author while I was waiting, and I did not like it. I found it to be a bit, I don't know, unsatisfying, I suppose. But in reading the reviews of people who read that one, it seemed like a lot of people brought up the fact that they liked this one and the other one let them down. So I feel like I still kind of want to read this one. Let us look at the first paragraph, shall we? Well, the narrator is John, and that's a rough start. Also, that's a long first paragraph, so buckle in. Prologue, John. The forest was dark on the brightest day. It was as though its ancient trees hid some terrible secret from the sun, and so weaved their branches together, casting a black gauze over the sky. The light broke through here and there in thin hazy pillars, but these were too rare to ever bring warmth. Any light was better than no light. It told John all that he needed to know, that there was still hope. There was every reason to keep on running. It was an unnatural place where the shadows never lifted, like a bleak lens forced over the eyes. He yearned for colour and light to guide his way, but amidst the trees there were neither. Hours had passed in that never-ending limbo, where John's every panicked breath was all that broke the silence. The end was still nowhere in sight, and those golden threads of light were beginning to fade. I'm not sure if that would have pulled me in had I not already known what the story will end up being. I think I have to rely on that. No, I'll read the blurb, even though I know what it's about. This forest isn't charted on any map. Every car breaks down at its tree line. Mina's is no different. Left stranded, she is forced into the dark woodland only to find a woman shouting, urging Mina to run to a concrete bunker. As the doors slam behind her, the building is besieged by screams. Mina finds herself in a room with a wall of glass and an electric light that activates at nightfall when the watchers come above ground. These creatures emerge to observe their captive humans, and terrible things happen to anyone who doesn't reach the bunker in time. Afraid and trapped among strangers, Mina is desperate for answers. Who are the Watchers? Why are these creatures keeping humans imprisoned? And most importantly, how can she escape? You know what? I think what I will do is I will return it. I will watch the movie again and then do kind of a double feature, maybe. Like more of a comparison with this and the movie. It was only, I think, last year that I watched the movie. Maybe the year before. No, it was last year. The Watchers is going back to the library. All right. This one, absolutely a whim. So this is The Spider Goddess by Tara Moss. I don't know why I picked this up. I was just at the library and something about the idea of a spider goddess really got me excited. I have probably the least motivation to read this just because I have no reason to have picked it up. Okay, I'm reading the first sentence. I looked at the fashion model and reassured myself she wasn't dead. The paragraph was just one line. So, you don't know the New York fashion world until you know its haunts. See, there's something really cool about the idea of this. Oh, okay. It's been 2 months since Pandora English left her small hometown to live with her mysterious great aunt in a haunted mansion in Spectre, the fog-wreathed suburb of Manhattan that doesn't appear on any map. With the help of great aunt Celia and the handsome but dead Lieutenant Luke, Pandora is beginning to understand that she is heir to a great gift from the Luckenbooth family. A gift that something through a sticker. A gift that some things, I'm guessing it comes with a frightening responsibility. And New York needs Pandora's special gifts. There is a new designer in town, and her ambitions extend beyond taking over the fashion world, one knit at a time. Actually, reading that, what appealed to me a little bit about this was that it reminded me of Last Night in Soho, which was another kind of unpopular-ish movie that I really liked aspects of. I like a person who has a bit of magic powers, like some sort of connection to another world, whether it's ghosts or, you know, they're psychic in an otherwise normal world from a small town. It has a lot of parallels to Last Night in Soho. I will return this, but I will put it on my list to return to, much like much like The Watchers. All right, I said I was going to be harsh, and that's what I'm trying to be with this. I'm trying to be snappy. The recording is already going for 10 minutes, so I don't imagine that I'm that snappy, but Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Melinda Lowe. This was another booktuber recommended book. It looks kind of cool. And when was it made? When was it published? 2021. Oh, I like that. I shouldn't have read it, but it says, to all the butchers and femmes, past, present, and future. So I got this probably because it's a queer book. I think sapphic specifically. But I also just heard good things about it, so prologue. The Miss Chinatown contestants were clustered together behind a canvas screen near the stage. They hadn't been there when Lily Hugh walked past the same area 15 minutes earlier on her way to the bathrooms, and there was something startling about their sudden appearance. Alright, I'm reading the back. They didn't hook me in a lot. 17-year-old Lily Hugh can't remember exactly when the question took root, but the answer was in full bloom the moment she and Kathleen Miller walked under the flashing neon sign of a lesbian bar called the Telegraph Club. America in 1954 is not a safe place for two girls to fall in love, especially not in Chinatown. Red Scare paranoia threatens everyone, including Chinese Americans like Lily. With deportation looming over her father despite his hard-won citizenship, Lily and Kath risk everything to let their love see the light of day. Ooh. Now, I don't usually read things that are overtly depressing. The exception being some fantasy, but where it's a real life, not real life, like non-fiction, but where it is something that is basically a drama, unless it has something else to work with it, like fantasy, or it's like a dramedy or something like that. I'm keeping it. I think I've worked my way into believing that actually I could just keep all of these until I need to return them. These ones in particular sit on my bedside table because I want to read them and I don't want to put them anywhere else. I might get them confused for something else. I also have like weeded library books, so I don't want to confuse them and then get them lost in amongst my other stuff. So, all right, I'm very excited for this one. I don't remember why, but Spark of the Everflame, Pen Cole, Book 1 in the Kindred's Curse saga. I don't remember where I've heard about it, or have I heard about it everywhere? I can't remember. It's fantasy. I don't know. It's romantasy specifically, which is probably why I've heard about it, because romantasy seems to be very talked about, which is fine by me because I love a bit of romantasy. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the back, but I'm not actually reading it. I'm just considering the book. So Spark of the Everflame, pretty cool. I love all the fluorescence on books at the moment. I think the only thing that is deterring me at the moment is that I am in the process of writing something, a fantasy story that also involves fire powers. You know, is it going to be about fire powers? It probably is, because it's called Spark of the Everflame, isn't it? Part of me doesn't want to read it just because I'm a little bit wary that I will go back to my own writing and be like, this is or be like, oh, I should definitely do more like that, and then inadvertently like copy sections of it that I think are my own original ideas. I don't know. Nothing's original anymore, but this was published in 2024, so I think that's also why I've heard about it, because I've only really been engaging with BookTube in the past year. It's got pictures. Whether it was a blessing or a curse is, even now, the subject of considerable debate. Yeah, okay. When old secrets catch fire, everything will burn. In a mortal world colonized by the gods and ruled over by the Descended, their cruel, magic-wielding offspring, DM Bellator yearns to escape the insular life of her poor village. When her mother suddenly disappears and DM discovers a dangerous secret about her past, she seizes an unexpected opportunity to enter the dark world of Descended royalty and unlock the web of mysteries her mother left behind. Sorry, there's a sticker. With a dying king's handsome, enigmatic heir watching her every move, and a ruthless rebel alliance recruiting her to join the growing war, DM will have to navigate the unwritten rules of love, power, politics, in order to save her family and all of mortal kind. I mean, it sounds cool. It definitely sounds cool. For all the reasons I already said at the start, I think I will be returning this just for now. I don't want to let myself be too influenced when I'm still working on draft 1. Yeah, but I'd like to read this. Like, it seems really cool. Okay, so for those keeping track, we have 2 books that I am keeping from the library so far, 3 that I am returning, which is a good average. It's culling more than half. Let's see if we can keep that up. I just have books everywhere. I'm looking up and down because I have books everywhere. I will go for... I'm currently in the process of recording a different video. I don't know if that will go up before or after this one, but this book I'm considering as part of that, and that's a book called Fang Fiction, which is like a vampire contemporary romance, like rom-com, I think, kind of vibe. I don't know much about it except that it is published in the past year, which was part of my parameters for that other video. So can't return it yet, but I might read the first paragraph now just to see what I might get a taste for. I do have a couple of books that are a part of that video. So, oh my god, there's a quote from Buffy. Far out. I gotta read this book. Okay, that's an author's note. I will not read the author's note. Prologue. After her first 2 weeks as a PhD student at Columbia University, Tess Rosenblum was absolutely certain of exactly one fact. Coming here was the best decision she'd ever made. So, technically that was kind of 2 paragraphs, but it was like a colon, so it felt like it was part of the same one. No, based on that line, I'm not particularly intrigued, but let's see the blurb on the back. Also, Buffy reference wins at extra points immediately. The world of your favourite fantasy novels is real and you're invited to watch. Nope. The world of your favourite fantasy novels is real and you're invited to visit. The only catch? It's filled with thirsty vampires. Tess Rosenblum is no stranger to the dark. A grad school dropout, and chronic insomniac, she spends her nights managing a chic Brooklyn hotel and her days curled up with her favourite vampire novels. Tess even dabbles in online conspiracies that blood feud is real, but she doesn't believe vampires actually exist until one walks through the door. Through her door. Managing a hotel, that's pretty cool. It turns out the sexy villain of blood feud is trapped, and only Tess can rescue him. Eager to escape her life, Tess agrees to help, and soon she's on a secret island where the sun never shines, surrounded by deadly vampires, and most terrifyingly of all, she's falling in love with one of them. Visiting the world of your favourite story is any fan's dream, but can Tess outrun the demons of her past and vampires of her present before it becomes a nightmare? I don't know why I said it like that, but that is fun. Oh, okay, I'm keeping it. I need to for the video anyway, potentially. So, next book, also part of that video potentially, is The Gathering by C.J. Tudor. I can't say the word Tudor. Tudor? Oh, history and everything. Okay. This book, on the cover it says Britain's female Stephen King, which, I don't know, something about that rubs me the wrong way, but good on CJ. But yes, so this is again for that other video, potentially vampires, published in, I think, early 2024, late 2024. Let's just read the first, extract. Oh no, it's another 1-sentence paragraph. It would be wrong to say that life had passed Beau Granger by. It does actually make me kind of want to read it because, what do you mean? I'm going to read it. So I don't need to read the back. Should I read the back? No. If you want to read it, you can read the back. Oh, okay, yes. So this was very much a thing that I got on a whim at the library today when I picked up my more holds. So this could well be a non-fiction. I don't read non-fiction, but something about the cover, the title, and I mean, I read the book, imagine. I read the back and it seems like it could appeal to me. It looks quite short and I would like to try and get better at reading non-fiction. We'll see. But this is what the cover looks like. It's called The Unfamiliar, if you can sort of read that. Tagline, I guess, or subheading is A Queer Motherhood Memoir by Kirsty Logan. Oof, this feels like it's going to be a sad one. First paragraph. You and your partner want a baby, but your two bodies can't make a baby together, so you need some sperm. I wonder if this entire thing is told in... It is. It's told in second person point of view. So the back, it starts with that sentence again. You and your partner want a baby, but your two bodies can't make a baby together. If you want a baby, but your body says otherwise, if you don't know the polite way to say thank you for the sperm, if you're waiting for the sound of a brand new heartbeat, if you know it takes a village to raise a baby but have no idea who should be doing what, if you're lurching between bliss and bewilderment, if you don't fit the shape of what you've been told a mother should be, reach for the unfamiliar and don't let go. So this one's quite interesting because I am not in that camp. I have a couple of friends who are pregnant now or have had children, and it's interesting, and I'd like to get to know that kind of perspective a bit better. Even if it's not something that I'm aiming for. Oh, I'm really tipping the scale now. I might have to go through again and get rid of some that I have decided yes on. But this one is going to be a yes. And this last one already has to be a yes because it again is part of the other video that I'm doing. I've not done a great job of weeding. Maybe I will add, because of where I'm at the moment, I might move the last night at the Telegraph Club to the return pile. Pick it up later. That's fine. We're allowed to do that. This book is Lightfall by Ed Crocker. It's not really going to pick up very well because it's a library book, of course. So this is another book one. I'm trying to read standalones a bit more. I've been a bit burnt out on series lately, particularly like kind of shitty sequels as part of series. At the moment, at least, I much prefer ones where you can kind of, if you enjoy the author, you can read other books, but they are their own discrete separate story, maybe existing within the same universe. I kind of find that I'm preferring that a bit more lately. Anyway, this is a vampire book released in the past year. There is a map. I'm just going to gloss on by. It's another Lightfall. Okay, prologue, the why comes later. Nuris Sinacian. First, imagine a continent. Let's call it the Everlands. A continent full of immortals, vampires, werewolves, sorcerers, no humans here. These immortals live forever if they are careful, or in the case of the vampires, if they drink the right blood, but they can be killed. They are immortal, not invincible, as future wars will firmly and bloodily attest to. Ooh, I actually really like this one. So I'm thinking that this one will be a priority for me as opposed to Fang Fiction and The Gathering. Yeah, this one's a yes. This one's a winner. I mean, it's actually probably would have been a winner even if I wasn't going to use it for the video, because that is really like speaking to my brain right now. I now have a pile of 5 library books and 4 to return. So that's not a great average. That's it for library books though. I mean, 5 isn't great, but I am hoping that I'll have at least 3 of them, or let's say at least 2 of them, away from me within the next couple of weeks. So that should be fine. So I'm just going to pull some down and then we'll go through them. And then I think what will be really nice at the end is if I can impose some sort of order to them. I don't even know if I'm in frame. The goal with these is that they're not staying here forever. If I am going to keep them, I'll move them, I'll migrate them onto another part of my house where there's other bookshelves with books that I like. I will see if I can get kind of... So there we have the entirety of the books. It's not as many as I thought, which is great. And there are a couple that I know I will not be reading. So it's just a case of deciding what I'm going to do with them. Not the Night Circus. It's an absolutely random order that I pulled them out and that I've had them stored in. This first one, I don't think I can read the first paragraph of because it is a part of a series and it feels a little bit weird to do that. But I will hold it out. It is The Demon Tide by Laurie Forrest. This is a series that I started reading a few years ago. Oh my god, it's got a review from Tomorrow Pierce. That makes sense because this really reminded me of books that I liked as a child. The protagonist was like learning about her place in the world and how other people were treated and things like that. Apparently this book came out in 2022, which is wild to me. After I ordered it on pre-order, I just had it at my mum's and I never remembered to pick it up. I just left it there for years, apparently. If you're planning to read this series, I guess just skip ahead a little bit. Oh, and the reason that I got this instead of borrowing it was just because I was so keen for it, so invested in it, and I couldn't wait for the library to have it. And now I am considering getting rid of it because I haven't read it in years, so I don't know if it's cheating, but I'm going to skip the prologue. I'm using a different approach to each of these different books, and that's okay. The Lost Continent, Alaric Finn's The Western Ocean. Priest-apprentice Alaric Finns grips the Book of the Ancients as he steps onto the Iron Flower's deck, an ocean breeze buffeting him. His silken priest-apprentice raiment gleams in the sunlight, the holy black garb embossed with the Ancient One's white messenger bird wrought in gleaming silver thread. The ship's sails luff and snap, the black canvas also marked with the Ancient One's bird, its talons clasping a bouquet of iron flowers. I'm keeping it because that reminded me of all the parts that I like. Like there's this kind of religious fanaticism about that series that I thought was really interesting. This book cover's a little bit weird. That's all right. I like the font. The font is cool. Maybe I'll see if there's like a recap on YouTube of the first couple, because yes, I did enjoy this, and that reminds me that I enjoyed it, and I'm interested keeping it on my shelf. Now, this one is the first Maze Runner by James Dashner, The Maze Runner. The reason why I have this is because it was in a street library, and because when I watched the first Maze Runner, whenever it came out, I was like, oh, that was so much fun, but I couldn't wait for the other ones. Like, I didn't have enough fun with the movie that I didn't want to spoil myself, but I was intrigued enough by the premise. I read the synopsis of all of the rest of the books, which is not something I typically do, but there was just something about the series that made me do that. This one, I think, is definitely designed for children. Maybe it's also young adult. It's always hard to tell with some of these things. But yes, I mean, it's kind of a shitty cover. It's a very knocked up book. This is definitely not one on my shelf for the aesthetics. I am curious. So let's read the first paragraph and let's see if it sounds interesting. He began his new life standing up, surrounded by cold darkness and stale, dusty air. I mean, already my eyes just like started scanning down like I want to read more. When the doors of the lift crank open, the only thing Thomas can remember is his first name. But he's not alone. He's surrounded by boys who welcome him to the Glade, an encampment at the centre of a bizarre and terrible maze. Like Thomas, the Gladers don't know why or how they came to be here, or what's happened to the world outside. All they know is that every morning, when the walls slide back, they will risk everything to find out. That doesn't really affect it. I think I'm gonna keep it. Looking at that shelf, maybe part of me is like, it's empty. I can keep anything. But like, maybe the Demon Tide I'm willing to wait on, because I might go back and read the other books. This one, I think if I don't read it by the end of the year, I will put it back in the street library. And someone else, probably a child, can read it. But for now, I'm keeping it, yes. All right, this one is a recent book, and I cannot see any way I would be getting rid of it. I just think I need to set aside some time to read it, because it's incredibly short. And that is called How TV Can Make You Smarter. It's a fun title. I didn't realize it would be this small, published in 2020, but it also like mentions Buffy, and so I was a little bit curious about what it said, I guess. All right, introduction. You've done it. You picked up this book. You have at least tentatively accepted the premise emblazoned across its cover. You have allowed for the possibility that one of the great myths of the age is false, that what is ubiquitous, or worse still, popular, must be inherently bad for you. Congratulations. The energy you might have wasted on feeling guilty about what you like, judging yourself on how you spend your time, or denying yourself what could bring your mind or heart pleasure, you can instead spend on other things. Go for a walk, listen to music, make yourself a nice sandwich, or go ahead and do what, according to Nielsen, 95% of US households do from time to time. Watch some television. Discover the many emotional and, yes, intellectual benefits of all that TV provides. So, yeah, I'm keeping this. I mean, could be not very well researched, I guess, is the only consequence. But I said I wanted to read more nonfiction, and this is teeny tiny. I would get through this in a night. Not successful so far with my cull, but I think I have just the ticket. I feel like people don't tend to show these sorts of things on like unhaul videos, but I got this like crystal Bible. It's like a coffee table book about crystals. You know what? Even just saying that, I want to keep it. Like, I'm not going to read it. And maybe I shouldn't have it. All right, Crystal Delights. Everyone is attracted to gemstones. Diamonds, rubies, emeralds, and sapphires are prized the world over. These are indeed precious stones. They uplift the heart. Their brightness is what most people think of when they hear the word crystal. Equally prized are the semi-precious stones such as carnelian, garnet, rock crystal, and lapis lazuli. These have been used for ornamentation and as a symbol of power for thousands of years. But such crystals were valued for more than their beauty. They each had a sacred meaning. In ancient cultures, their healing properties were as important as their ability to adorn. It's not really about history though. Like, that makes it sound like it's talking about historical ways these were used, but it just has like for each of them attributes, healing, and position. Position as appropriate. What does that mean? Oh my gosh, I should check if I'm wearing this appropriately. What is this? Amethyst? Purple to lavender, transparent pointed crystals. Position, wear or place as appropriate, especially as jewelry. Tick. Place the point in toward you to draw in energy. I don't know if I'm placing the point downwards. Does that mean it's, where is it drawing the energy? This one's really hard. I know I won't read it. I think I'm going to move this to my gifts cupboard and other people can enjoy the benefits of the crystals. Let's pull in some more. I'm so excited. Okay, we have The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. Now, this one obviously is like incredibly well known. I've been hearing about this book for what feels like forever. When did it come out? It came out in 2011. So it's possible I've been hearing about this for forever since it came out. I've also been told that I will like it. I think I got this version from a street library again. I used to live near a really good one. This is really fun. One sentence, the circus arrives without warning. Interesting. The circus arrives, and then it says it on the back again, the circus arrives without warning. No announcements precede it. It is simply there when yesterday it was not. They're giving away nothing in this book. I think that I'm going to give this one as a gift though, because I know a couple of people who haven't read it, and I will use their liking it to judge. Yeah, this one I am going to get rid of, I think. So the next one I have, gift from a friend. When I got this book, I was in the process of moving, or very soon after. So I wasn't reading basically at all at that point in time, or very little. I'm going to be keeping this. It's just a matter of how soon. And maybe that's something I'll go through and do with the library books as well, is I will work out which one I'm most interested in reading. I don't know if I've said it. This book is Silver Nitrate by Silvia Moreno Garcia. Loved Mexican Gothic. That was my favorite book of that year. Wasn't as enthused by The Daughter of Dr. Moreau. There was one that I got partway through but didn't finish. Yeah, basically everything else I haven't felt as drawn to as Mexican Gothic. I really liked Mexican Gothic. But I think I've also read The Beautiful Ones, and I just wasn't feeling that. But this one, I think, is, I mean, it looks to be more of a horror-y kind of one. I think that's more what I was expecting from the other ones, and I wasn't getting that. So this one might be more up my alley. Look at it. It's so cool. It has such a cool horror vibe. Ooh, okay, we've got some interesting stuff. So this book came out in 2023. It's too hot, and I think I just got bitten by something, so I might go very quick with the rest of them. An engorged yellow moon painted the sky a sickly amber hue, illuminating a solitary figure, a woman, standing between two sycamore trees. Maybe. Montserrat has always been overlooked. She's a talented sound editor, but she's left out of the boys' club running the film industry in 90s Mexico City. Yes, okay, that sounds cool. And she's all but invisible to her best friend Tristan, a charming, if faded soap opera star, even though she's been in love with him since childhood. Then Tristan discovers his new neighbor is the cult horror director, Abel Ureta. I'm sorry for my pronunciation. And the legendary auteur claims he has a way to change their lives. Years ago, he began work on the film of a lifetime, but the magic film was never finished, which is why, Ureta swears, his career vanished overnight. He is cursed. Now the director wants Montserrat and Tristan to help him shoot the missing scenes and lift the curse. But as the three work together, Montserrat begins to notice a dark presence following her. The closer they come to unraveling the mystery of the film and the obscure occultist who once roamed Mexico City, the closer Montserrat and Tristan come to learning that sorcerers and magic are not only the stuff of movies. So this sounds really fun, and it reminds me a bit of Bury Your Gaze by Chuck Tingle. Tainted Hollywood feel. Yeah, I think this will be interesting. This is a yes. This one I know next to nothing about. I got it again from the street library. There was clearly like some sort of book influencer in the area, because as you'll see later, I think I've got like an advanced reader copy of a book that I picked up from that street library. So this is called The Witch Haven by Sasha Payton Smith. I don't know why I keep holding it out as though you're going to be able to see it any better, really. I don't have high hopes for this because I know nothing about it. When did it come out? It came out in 2021. New York, May 1911. The East River smelled distinctly of death. All right. Haven Academy rules for young witches. 1. Mind your instructors. 2. No unsupervised spell work. 3. Don't leave after dark. In 1911, New York City, 17-year-old Frances Hollowell spends her days as a seamstress, mourning the mysterious death of her brother months prior. Everything changes when she's attacked and a man ends up dead at her feet, her scissors in his neck, and she can't explain how they got there. I think I can. Before she can be condemned as a murderess, 2 cape-wearing nurses arrive to inform her she is deathly ill and ordered to report to Haven Sanitarium. This is a very expositional blurb, but Frances finds Haven isn't a sanitarium at all. It's a school for witches. Within Haven's glittering walls, Frances finds the sisterhood she craves, but the headmistress warns Frances that magic is dangerous. Okay, Why is she a headmistress for a magic school? Frances has no interest in the small, safe haven of her school and is instead enchanted by Finn, a boy with magic himself who appears in her dreams and tells her he can teach her all she's been craving to learn, lessons that may bring her closer to discovering what truly happened to her brother. Everything about this is screaming that it's a book for teens, and not like in the way some things are young adult. I think this is a bit too young for me. Yeah. I don't know. I don't really want to read books about people at school. I kind of mentioned that with the dark academia thing. Like, it's not really my thing usually. I think I'll give this to my sister, though. She's in the right age group. It literally says ages 14 plus. I'm losing my voice, but we're getting to some juicy stuff. So, all right, if you've noticed I'm sitting taller, that's because I'm sitting on my legs. The only way I'm comfortable, besides when I fully, lean over like I have no spine. All right, so this one is really cool. I think I got this when I picked up another book, and then I was like, I have to get this because it's such a cool title. I think I've seen this book come up. It's called Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson. I have a feeling this one might be super common, but I'm not involved in the world enough to know. Everyone might know it, or it might be that 4 people that I follow have talked about it. Oh, I'm not reading the back. I'm reading the first. Ooh, we got some cool maps in this. 25 years earlier. The night before the summer solstice, 5 girls hid in a treehouse. The shack, much too nice to call a shack, was sturdy enough, cradled in the arthritic branches of a 300-year-old oak. Below, in Vance Hall, preparations for tomorrow's festivities were finalised. It was more an excuse for the grown-ups to fetch up the dustier wines from the cellar 2 days in a row than it was a planning meeting. Their elders, quite some way past tipsy, truthfully, hadn't noticed the girls were absent. I'm utterly compelled. This next one I feel a bit bad about because I did get it as a gift. This one is called Lady Macbethad, and it's by Isabel Schuler. I don't know. Let's just read it because I haven't seen anything about this. It came out in 2023. I think this was a gift for my graduation. My graduation from postgrad, obviously. Picty means painted one, my grandmother once told me. My ancestors decorated their skin in hues of blue and red and green. The whirling patterns shone so vibrantly that my people were believed to be otherworldly. Only when their blood was spilled did their humanity betray them. Daughter of an ousted king, descendant of ancient druids, as a child it is prophesied that one day Grouch will be Queen of Alba. When she is betrothed to Duncan, heir-elect, this appears to confirm the prophecy. She leaves behind her home, her family, and her close friend Macbethad, and travels to the royal seat at Scone to embrace her new position. But nothing is as Grouch anticipates. Duncan's court is filled with sly words and unfriendly faces, women desperate to usurp her position and others whose motives are shrouded in mystery. As her coronation approaches, a deadly turn of events forces Grouch to flee Duncan and the capital, finding herself alone, vulnerable, and at the mercy of an old enemy. Her hope of becoming queen all but lost, Grouch does what she must to survive, vowing that one day she will fulfill her destiny and take up the future owed to her, whatever it takes. I'm trying to get more from it. I'm trying to work out... Gay? Is that why it's called Macbethad even though it's about Grouch? There's so many empty pages at the back here. From its conception as a pilot for television... I think I'm getting rid of this. But if you see it on my shelf, just pretend you don't. I'm putting it in the discard pile for now because I don't think there's enough for me to go on to work out if it's something I would like. So this is a very worn copy of The Silence of the Lambs by Thomas Harris, and this was something I picked out from the Street Library. I feel complicated ways towards the movie, but I think it is a well done movie. I really like the protagonist in Silence of the Lambs, and I think Anthony Hopkins' character, obviously... What's his name? I'm thinking Leatherface, but that's not it. Lecter. I think Dr. Lecter is interesting too. I'm not sure if the movie is a good adaptation of this book or if they're quite distinctly different. Let's read paragraph 1. Behavioral science, the FBI section that deals with serial murder, is on the bottom floor of the Academy building at Quantico, half buried in the earth. Clarice Starling reached it flushed after a fast walk from Hogan's Alley on the firing range. She had grass in her hair and grass stains on her FBI Academy windbreaker from diving to the ground under fire in an arrest problem on the range. At large, a psychotic serial killer who flays the bodies of his victims. Locked away, a homicidal genius in an asylum for the criminally insane. The go-between, a young FBI trainee who must stop with one to stop the other. A young FBI trainee who must deal with one to stop the other. I love horror movies, so I think it's good to give horror fiction more of a go, and I think it will be easier for me to do when it's something like this where I already have some reason to want to read it because I liked another form of it, if that makes sense. There were parts of the movie I liked, but not all of it, so it's nice to see what comes from the original source material and what has been created for the movie. All right, I have a pile of books here, and I am running out of voice, so I will try and keep it short for the rest of them. We'll see how that goes. Luckenbooth. I bought this while I was in Melbourne. I don't know if I'd heard of it before. Oh, I've got like the bookmark. Luckenbooth by Jenny Fagan. This video is just going to be me turning so many pages to get to the first page. 1910, Flat 151, Jesse McRae, The Arrival. My father's corpse stares out across the North Atlantic swells. Grey eyes, eyelashes adorned with beads of rain, tiny orbs to reflect our entire world. Primrose and squill dance at his feet. His body is rammed into a crevice. The shore is scattered with storm debris. Cargo boxes, little green bottles with faded labels. Swollen pods of seaweed slip underfoot. It takes me an hour to get from our cliff top to the water's edge. I have a blue glass bottle. It is tincture of iodine. Skull and crossbones on the front. I wash it out. Tell it my secrets. Stopper them. Lay it on the water. When I look back, our beach has a long straight line, right down the middle, like the spine of a book. This is cool. Keeping it. Potentially of all the ones I've read so far, that one has the coolest start. So, next one, All the Dead Lie Down by Kyrie McCauley. I picked this up from... I think I just bought this. It looks cool. The mourning dove's bittersweet call was cut short, strangled into a silence that was even more unnerving than the birdsong itself. It was the first sign that all was not well at Lovelace House, and like most early signs of sickness, it was subtle, easy to miss. Yes, but not immediately. Alright, I just had a real moment because I realised I had this, Nights at the Circus, and then I had The Night Circus. And it made me worried I'd got two of the same book and not realised it. But they are different books. So yes, this is Nights at the Circus. To be honest, it's a vintage classic. I don't know much about it. But let's read the first. That's an introduction. Lord love you, sir, Fervers sang out in a voice that clanged like dustbin lids. As to my place of birth, why I first saw light of day right here in smoky old London, didn't I? Not billed the Cockney Venus for nothing, sir. Though they could just as well have called me Helen of the Highwire, due to the unusual circumstances in which I come ashore. For I never docked via what you would call the normal channels, sir. Oh dear me, no. But just like Helen of Troy, was hatched. That's really fun. Is Sophie Feather's Toast of Europe's Capital part swan or all fake? Yeah, okay, I'm keeping it. Alright, next book. In Defense of Witches, Why Women Are Still on Trial by Mona Charlotte. I'm so sorry for my pronunciation constantly being terrible. I'm pretty sure this is non-fiction. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep it regardless of what I read now. So I'm going to assume that I start with the introduction because it goes for like 40 pages. Of course, there was the one in Walt Disney's Snow White, all stringy grey hair under her black hood, a wart on her crooked nose, her inane rictus revealing a single tooth left in her lower gum, and the heavy brows over her crazy eyes further exaggerating her wicked expression. But she is not the witch who made the biggest impression on my childhood. That order goes to Flodder Mildweather. I am going to put this kind of up there with Luckenbooth for most intriguing to me, and truly it's not specifically that paragraph, but the premise of a book like this I'm really interested in reading right now. Alright, this next one, I have had people around me tell me it is good, but I just don't know if it's my sort of thing. This one will have to win me over by the first paragraph or blurb, otherwise it's gone. And that book is Lessons in Chemistry. This was actually a gift for my partner, but it seemed more likely that I would read it. I like the idea of a book like this. It would just need to pull me in some way. Let's see if it does. Chapter 1, November 1961. Back in 1961, when women wore shirtwaist dresses and joined garden clubs and drove legions of children around in seatbeltless cars without giving it a second thought, back before anyone knew there'd even be a 60s movement, much less one that its participants would spend the next 60 years chronicling, back when the big wars were over and the secret wars had just begun, and people were starting to think fresh and believe everything was possible, the 30-year-old mother of Madeline Zott rose before dawn every morning and felt certain of just one thing: her life was over. Ooh, okay. Okay, alright. You know what? I said it had to win me. Alright, another one that is not originally mine. It was my partner's. I don't know where they got it, but it is Love Stories by Trent Dalton. It's a very cool kind of cover. I think it's an anthology. Who knows? Okay, I'm going to read the first, well, technically 2 paragraphs, but the first one is Dear Kath. Dear Kath, I got your gift. Might be the most beautiful gift I ever got. Alright. I don't think this is for me. Ooh, let's read the back. A blind man yearns to see the face of his wife of 30 years. A divorced mother has a secret love affair with a priest. A geologist discovers a 3-minute video recorded by his wife before she died. A tree lopper's heart falls in a forest. A working mum contemplates taking photographs of her late husband down from her fridge. A girl writes a last letter to the man she loves most, then sets it on fire. A palliative care nurse helps a dying woman converse with the angel at the end of her bed. A renowned 100-year-old scientist ponders the one great earthly puzzle he was never able to solve. What is love? Endless stories, human stories, love stories. This is a book from the perspective of different people answering the question, can you please tell me a love story? Now this sounds absolutely adorable as well as very upsetting. I don't think this book is for me. It sounds like a really harsh thing to say, this book about love is not for me. But I'm not sure that it is. But I might just give it back to my partner and be like, I actually think you should give this another shot because I think that they'll like it more than I will. It's going, but it's probably not going to leave my house. All right, the next one was also a gift. This is one of those ones where it's like, oh, it feels nice to be known. This beautiful cover. This was a book I had on display in my house for a while. It's called Pandora's Jar, Women in Greek Myths by Natalie Haynes. Yeah, there's no way I'm giving this up. It's got little painting pictures. I'm such a child. I love pictures. I don't know whether to count the introduction in this, but I'm not going to. So, when we think of Pandora, we probably have a picture in our minds. She holds a box in her hands or she's sitting beside one. She is opening it either because she is curious to see what's inside or because she knows what it contains and wants to let it out. Its contents are abstract but terrible. All the evils in the world are now set loose upon us. And gratifyingly, we know exactly who to blame. The beautiful woman who couldn't leave well enough alone. I'm gonna keep this one. Yep. Big old chonker. This has to be the biggest book. Well, House of Earth and Blood, a Crescent City novel by Sarah J. Maas. Double checking as well that this is the first in this series. It is, yeah. I think there's kind of, the pendulum has swung against Sarah J. Maas and everyone loved her and now I think everyone hates her. I don't know if any of it is based on things she's done, so if it's because of things she's done, sorry, but I did read A Court of Earth and Fire. That's not right, is it? A Court of Thrones and oh my god. I did read A Court of Thorns and Roses and I quite enjoyed that series. I thought it was, I don't know, I was just shocked that you would have one character as a love interest and then in the second one be like, no, he's shit. I thought that was just like such a out there move and I was like honestly impressed. It was also as I was getting back into reading, so I think part of that influenced it. Like it was so easy for me to read, it really incentivized me to read more. I really like A Court of Thorn and Roses for that. There was a wolf at the gallery door. Well, Bryce Quinlan loves her life. Every night is a party, and Bryce is going to savor all the pleasures Lunathian, also known as Crescent City, has to offer. But when a brutal murder shakes the very foundations of the city, Bryce's world comes crashing down. 2 years later, Bryce still haunts the city's most notorious nightclubs, but seeking only oblivion now. Then the murderer attacks again. And when an infamous fallen angel, Hunt Athalar, is assigned to watch her every footstep, Bryce knows she can't forget any longer. Yeah, okay. I think I'll enjoy this. Oh my god, again, there's a Buffy reference. Think Game of Thrones meet Buffy the Vampire Slayer? It's time. Alright. I know that this is a famous author. I've never read anything by Sally Hepworth, unless I'm confusing her for another person. I think she's a famous writer. But I picked this up from the street library. Sally Hepworth, Darling Girls. It is not my genre at all. I think what you've probably already seen is I have a lot of fantasy, some horror, a lot of fantasy really. Whereas I think this is just contemporary drama. We'll see though, because maybe I have a theory it might be a thriller. The Office of Dr. Warren, Psychiatrist. Dr. Warren sits in a grey folding chair, one ankle resting on the opposite knee. His suit is brown, his tie red. His thin-rimmed glasses lie against his chest on a chain. When I knock on the open door, he points to the vacant chair facing him, his gaze fixed on an old-school manila folder in his lap. His bald, liver-spotted head is as waxed and shiny as a freshly buffed sports car. That doesn't really pull me in. Also, I think that psychiatrists in fiction are often so poorly represented that it can be really frustrating, or they so poorly represent psychological practice, which I guess, there are also people in real life who are psychiatrists or psychologists who do malpractice. But the sheer volume of psychological professionals in fiction, on TV or in books who are like absolute shitty people at their job frustrates me to no end. There's no indication that this character is going to be like that, but it's just something about starting with that sets me off, I guess. It's not just secrets buried at Wild Meadows. For as long as I can remember, Jessica, Nora, and Alicia have been told how lucky they are. Rescued from family tragedies and raised by a loving foster mother on an idyllic farming estate, they were given an elusive second chance at a happy family life. But their childhood wasn't the fairy tale everyone thinks it was. And when a body is discovered under the home they grew up in, the foster sisters find themselves thrust into the spotlight of key witnesses. Or are they prime suspects? So it's a thriller. It's about sisterhood, which is good. It's also Australian. I don't think I have any Australian fiction on my shelf. And I don't know if I have any thrillers on my shelf. So I'm setting this aside as a maybe. I'm just going to put it right next to me. All right, yes, I will go for this one. And this is Wicked by Gregory Maguire. I absolutely want to read this. I loved the movie. I had never seen I'd seen The Wizard of Oz, but I hadn't seen any adaptation of Wicked before. And I was just shocked. I saw it the opening weekend, and I think that was great because I was spoiled on absolutely nothing except like little bits and pieces throughout my life, but really like nothing significant. So it was very cool to watch it, and I came back and I was like, I must read this. And then everyone talked about how it's very different. It's like very dark, and I wasn't sure. I think I will read this. But it's just a case of, I've had this now for years. Like, I was given this by my auntie, I think, as a birthday present years ago. I don't know why I'm showing you this. You know what the cover looks like. It looks kind of shit on the inside, like the cover bleeds, but I think the green is cool. A mile above Oz, the witch balanced on the wind's forward edge as if she were a green fleck of the land itself, flung up and sent wheeling by the turbulent air. White and purple summer thunderheads mounded around her. Below, the yellow brick road looped back on itself like a relaxed noose. Though winter storms and the crowbars of agitators had torn up the road, still it led relentlessly to the Emerald City. The witch could see the companions trudging along, manoeuvring around the buckled sections, skirting trenches, skipping when the way was clear. They seemed oblivious of their fate, but it was not up to the witch to enlighten them. I'm going to keep this. All right. Not even a question. Look, I think we just have to be proud of me that I've gotten rid of anything. This seems to be some sort of proof copy, but I don't know why they would give up their copy to a street library. It even has like a street library sticker. Ooh, they've stuck in the cover art. I think I might have to keep this just because this is so cool. It's called The Third Daughter by Adrian Tooley. And this is what the cover looks like. But then on the inside, I don't know if that's what the cover ended up looking like. I need to look into this book. Ooh, okay. I think I have to do that thing where I read. No, okay, it's definitely not going to be someone who was in my area. Adrian Tooley grew up in Southern California and now lives in Brooklyn. Also notably, a dark sapphic fantasy for lovers of slow burn romance and women in power. TikTok description of a book, but dark sapphic. Before the new maiden ushered in the light, she promised her favourites she would return. You will know me, she said, as a third daughter's third daughter. My spirit will live on in the body of another. And that's cool. I'm keeping it. Okay, we've reached the final one, which is so exciting for my voice box and probably your patience. So, the big ol' The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. Everyone knows about this book. I know nothing about this book. Like, I have heard so many people talk about how they kind of liked it, they loved it, little bits and pieces. I think there's some queer elements to this book, but I don't know anything about it. It's like the way people talk about it is just like, it's a really big read. Sometimes it's really hard for people to get through it. Other times people are like, it's amazing fantasy. I love it. I got this as a gift from my partner's mum. And I think it was a pretty good call. Like, if it had been half the size, I would have read it already by now. But something about a book this size, it feels insurmountable. Don't think there's a point in getting rid of it when I know that I will eventually. Maybe this is just me, again, trying to convince myself. But I'm really going back and forth about whether to read, like, the kind of prologue-y, quotesy bit beforehand. The stranger came out of the sea like a water ghost, barefoot, and wearing the scars of his journey. He walked as if drunk through the haze of mist that clung like spider silk to Psyche. There's a lot of ways I could pronounce that. Alright, so the way I will tackle this is I'm going to Sydney later in the year. I think that I will take this as my only book, and then I am forced to consume it. But yes, I mean, that's it. Oh no, I missed something. I was sitting on poor Charlotte Bronte. This is just a really short little book that I picked up from an op shop. It says originally it's from the Adelaide Uni Bookshop for $17. Whew. But it's a little bit about her life and I think criticisms of her. And I thought this would be interesting. This is not the sort of thing I usually consume, as you can see. But I think it's nice to have something that's a little bit about a writer, I suppose. I don't know much about Charlotte Bronte, so I would like to learn a little bit about her, and this is by Pauline Nestor. This is from 1987. This is something I'm going to be keeping on my shelf. I would like to, I don't know, I like learning. Part of me would have liked to go to uni and study like creative writing or something like that. So this is going to scratch a little bit of that itch, hopefully, for me. If we return to Darling Girls, I'm going to keep it on my shelf. Why not? You can't stop me. Right, so that was everything. I think that I'm most happy about getting rid of some of the library books. I've got 5 to return, including the one I read, 5 that I'm keeping. I think that's a good balance. I also have, however many I've checked out currently on the Libby app. I've got a lot in progress. I think everything that I'm keeping, I have plans to read them soon. I am interested. I think I will like them all and so will want to keep them. I'll quickly count up how many I am keeping, how many I'm getting rid of. Yeah, then I will go through and I will put in some order to the ones I have to put them back up on my bookshelf. If there are any that I am keeping or not keeping that you think are like amazing, 100%, that should be the next thing I read, please put that down below. I will keep that in mind, although I'll probably still read what I want anyway. I'm hoping by the time I edit this video, the books that are in my library pile are gone. I have gotten through them. Whereas I think a lot of the ones that are on my TBR that I'm keeping on this cupboard will always take a back seat. And that's a problem. At some point, I just need to keep a list of things I want to read, but not put them on hold at the library, because otherwise I never read this, I'm pointing down there, this physical pile of books I will never read, because I'll always have library books that take priority. It's good that I've done this, because now I am interested. Like some of these things, I'm like, I will be excited to read. So if I am correct, there are 18 things. That doesn't seem like enough, but there are 18 things on my physical TBR. That is actually an achievable amount to get through, which is exciting. Like 18. I've tried to set a really, really soft, tentative no book buying for this year. The majority of things I get through the library and it's fine, but I've tried to set up a little bit of restraint, especially because I've been consuming more book content. It's very easy to just go, oh, I'm going to buy it now. I don't think I ever want to exceed 30 on this shelf because I also want to have like my knickknacks and things. So I think maybe if the rule was 1 book a fortnight would be 26. I can only ever have 26 books on this bookshelf, I think is logical because theoretically I could read 1 book a fortnight if I wanted to catch up. If I was going with a 1 in, 1 out, 1 book a fortnight is doable. I wouldn't want to buy 1 book a fortnight, but theoretically that is a sustainable model of living. I'm not sold necessarily on the way that I've sorted these. I also, in looking up what genres they specifically fit into, found that A lot of these are sapphic, which is incredible. I didn't know that so many of my books were queer. I could not sort it based on that alone. This one is sitting by itself. This is kind of, I think, historical fantasy fiction. These two are by themselves because they are adult fantasy fiction, which are not happy, but I think Luckenbooth is also queer. So, and then like obviously Wicked is queerish. Lessons in Chemistry and Nights at the Circus, which I kind of fit together as historical fiction. Yeah, again, not easy to group things sometimes, but we have here almost satisfying how like lined up they are, but these two are both apparently young adult fiction, different vibes, young adult fantasy fiction, also queer. This is my little How TV Can Make You Smarter. I do have a separate section for nonfiction and maybe it should go there, but I kind of like it sitting by itself because it's kind of about media. My two horror books currently, we have these two, which are both young adult. Again, not sure if it's young adult or middle school fiction, but definitely pitched a younger audience. They're both also fantasy, thriller, Australian book, and also my kind of shitty pottery that I made. An art piece that I got a long time ago. The big chunky books, which are obviously both fantasy. And we have my non-fiction books together. I rightly could have also just like grouped everything by feminism, but that seemed like that would be the majority of these books. Thank you so much for listening, watching. I usually just listen half the time to these sorts of things. So thank you for listening, and I hope to see you next time. I hope you see me next time. Thank you. Bye.